Welcome back, everybody. This is our October Star Wars CCG graded group update. I am back with JP. It's the beginning of the month. And JP, great to have you. Welcome back.
Thanks, Kyle. It's always fun to do our monthly updates and just get a quick beat on what's going on with the group and some of the exciting things that's going on for the month.
Yeah, definitely. I know everybody else looks forward to these too. And frankly, I look forward to speaking with you. So we have a few things we're going to touch on today. We're going to touch upon general group updates. We're going to hit upon the contest winners of September, as well as some interesting eBay tidbits, as well as our general theories on where this is going and some upcoming contest announcements. So let's kick it off with the group in general. Where have we been going this month? How have things been shaping out, JB?
Yeah, things have been going great. I'm getting a lot of engagement. People are still reaching out to me, asking me questions, and they're still posting in the group about what's going on. So the growth is still going on, good, steady growth. And, I just want to, there's been one great member that's really been keeping me busy, Brian Christopherson. He's really turned into quite the collector.
Yeah, no, the group has steadily been growing. There's still plenty of engagement on it. I mean, frankly, it's definitely like the group with the most engagement outside of like the regular tops group. But that's because it's literally like thousands and thousands of members. But honestly, it feels kind of equal going back and forth with the level of engagement. And I feel like Luke has brought some great energy with his analytics and general excitement for finishing up his sheets. So very excited for him to work on that, and you'll hear from his collector spotlight very shortly. Let's touch upon the contest. So I know everyone's eager to find out who won the contest, and we're going to kick it off with the lowball category. We both agreed on this one, but we actually had some competition in the lowball category. It wasn't aggressive, but our winner on lowball is Brian Emery. Yeah! Congratulations. He had a Qui-Gon Jinn tournament foil and a Darth Maul with lightsaber, both tournament foils. One was a 6 and one was a 5 from PSA. So that was, yep, you kind of took it there. So congrats to Brian on that. JP, with the unique category, our pick.
Yeah, so that was a tough one. We had some good choices, but Derek Marsh went for that. It was a beautiful selection with the HGA P59 and P60. Those go great hand in hand, and it was just all around great choice and great win.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that post, I was like, that is so cool. The combined cards, it makes me rethink of if I can find cards that I can somehow piece together to create a montage, because that's just like the coolest thing ever. Okay, so for our runner-up on top pair, this was very close. And really, JP and I had to do a little bit of digging and research in terms of how difficult it would be to grade these cards, accessibility, population, price, and all that. But our runner-up is going to be John Guzik with Queen Amidala, Fleet Palace, PSA 10, and Padme, a Tatooine alternate image, PSA 10. Very close, very good submission. And that leaves our winner as top pair with Michael Lockwood, again, taking the throne with his EGS 9.5s of Coruscant, Darth Maul, Young Apprentice AI, and Queen Amidala, Ruler of Naboo AI, 9.5s from Beckett. Very, very close, very tight, but ultimately Michael Lockwood with the win. Congratulations.
Yes, definitely congratulations on that. It's tough competition. It was like, even at the point I'm not even going to submit, because there's no way I can even compete with any of those categories. It was really stiff competition this month.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I'll submit something, but there's no way I'm going to win. So I'm going to just check the box and participate for sure. October is Imperial Spaceship. So everybody has an Imperial Spaceship, Starship, graded in their collection somewhere. So I am fully expecting this to be the biggest submission month of all. because I know y'all got Star Destroyers and Bounty Hunter ships. So don't pretend like you don't. Bring them out, whether they're 1 through 10, doesn't matter. Post them, participate. We want to see it. I'm hoping this is the best month ever.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, there's a couple members that's all they collect is graded spaceships. So I can't wait and hide it. Not showcase every back from grading. Some stuff's put up out of the going to blow our minds. So can't wait.
Yeah, that's going to be fantastic. Next month, let's see. So after October, November is going to be Cloud City theme. So that not only includes Cloud City cards, but even if there's like special edition cards that feature something in Cloud City or Cloud City related, like enhanced cards that are at Cloud City, that's fine. And December will be Hoth. No surprise there. So keep those in mind as you're looking to purchase and grade and submit cards out for the upcoming months. For the next topic, I want to kind of touch upon some of the interesting things I've seen through the month of September from eBay sales. We saw some interesting slabs go up, and at this point, it's literally anything across the spectrum we've seen graded now. We're not seeing as much favoritism on certain sets. There's all different kinds of sets being submitted here. And the thing that struck me, I mean, there was a Stormtrooper PSA 10 that sold for $40, so that's cool. But there's an equal spreading between like 7, 8, 9. I mean, a lot of those have been selling, regardless. And I've seen an uptick in lowball sales. So it seems like 4s, 5s, 6s, like those still sell. So they're not immune to somebody wanting them. And maybe hopefully they want it to, compete in this upcoming competition with our lowball category. Because I almost considered buying a PSA 4 TIE Fighter the other day, but I did not. But it did sell. So somebody did make, $5-10 off it. What are your thoughts?
So
getting across the board with these.
Well, we're starting to see the 4, 5s, and 6s now. People were just really interested in 9s and 10s first going out, but I think as a lot of that stuff is getting put up and collected, so it's people's collections. But you'll see, I mean, the older Pokemon stuff and the older Magic stuff, all the gaming stuff, people are just going to start buying it and collecting it. I've noticed some of the older print where they don't care if it's 4 or 5s or just getting their hands on it, but it starts to make me wonder about, we keep recently, a lot of the interviews and a lot of the discussions is that we're going to slowly tip that scale. And people have been asking themselves, are we going to get to the point that we need to start getting concerned with sealed product and that the stuff's getting opened, it's going into people's collections, but a lot of it's getting graded too. Little by little, to start get your hands on it. And we need to kind of get a handle on what's still out in the wild and kind of get an idea of what's still available, what can we open and get graded.
So how do we go about doing that?
Well, I remember of a couple of discussions with Naga and Mark and Matt where they had ideas about how much they thought was still sealed and how much had been opened. So I think we probably need to go back to the drawing board and pull in those scholars and those experts and just, hey, what are your thoughts? And for you're experts in the group. What do you think is the let's start saying nobody's going to open up Reflection 3 stuff anymore. It's completely sealed and in collections. So we probably need talking to them. And
yeah, I mean, I literally see videos dropping, weekly basis, almost daily basis, where there's more sealed product getting ripped, even in boosters, but even boxes. People ripping boxes now to sell individual packs, which are getting ripped, and then subsequently graded or played in a deck or whatever. More likely than not, I would imagine people are using them to hopefully find some treasures and grade them. But nonetheless, that just takes more boxes out of the equation. Cloud City boxes have crept up in price a little bit. So haven't ignored that, although the individual packs themselves still remain fairly cheap. So yeah, it could be just the boxes are harder to get. If I find lots of boosters for sale, like a lot of 15 or 20 or 30 or 40. Like I picked up another 20 Premier Unlimited packs just because it was like really cheap. So I don't mind, buying that stuff, but it's definitely harder to find that on the more expensive stuff, the higher desirable stuff. I mean, Reflections packs are out of control. I mean, like to pay a lot of money for that and then rip it and then pull something rough. It's like,
Yeah.
you might as well play the lotto. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, right. And so we've all been burned. So it's risky. Everybody knows it's risky.
So the question is like, who's willing to cough up the money to dig through those to get the slabs? And arguably that's why they're asking for a lot of money for some of these really rare foils. It's like,
right.
Cool. Well, if you don't want this one, then you can go find it yourself. And a lot of times, like, that's just not possible. I saw some New Hope Japanese cards listed. I think a Wedge Antilles sold for about $90 the past week or two. So maybe some of those are creeping up. I know there were some more loose boxes of that than there were of Premier, for that matter. But yeah, I don't know. This will definitely be interesting. I think people are going to have to be digging through their own collections or boxes and maybe grading things they otherwise might have passed on just for the sake of getting it. If they have it as a 7 or 8, then there's still a market for it, and that's okay.
I mean, if you're still trying to complete your master collection, too, that may be the only way to get it, and it's already graded and sealed, and you're done dealing with it. So, if you get that 4, 5, 6 and you put it away, then you don't have to go. You already have it.
Do you get the impression that people are grading their master sets, or are they putting their master sets aside and grading additional cards, secondary cards, second sets, and not touching the master set?
Yeah, so I'm seeing people are getting smarter. So instead of just grading the same things that are already out there, and there's a couple 10s of some, and lots of 8s and 9s on it, they're picking some other interesting cards, some weapons, and some ships that are population 1. So people are starting to have a different angle at what they're going to start getting graded. So I'm starting to see it's across the board of everybody's got their own style and the way that they want to their own assembly line for grading and selling. So it's been great. I mean, this is what I was hoping it'd flourish into.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, I did not, I was not necessarily seeking out to have a Japanese Premier like graded set, right? Granted, I have access to so many pack fresh cards that it's like crazy not to grade them. So I still don't know what I'm doing myself with them. I almost have a secondary set, of all the common, uncommon, and rare 2s. Maybe I just grade those. I don't know. Maybe there's a market for those. It's not necessarily what I would have personally sought out to do because the set is so large. I told Jamie, I was like, some of these uncommon ones are harder to find in packs than the rare 2s. So he gave me a whole bunch of uncommon ones to grade. So he's been getting those 9s and 10s of Japanese Premier uncommon ones, which are not that plentiful. Like some of them are kind of annoying to find. It's just like something totally under the radar, right? Probably nobody else is really like looking at that. Maybe that'll pay off, maybe not. I don't know. But I mean, what group? What set are you currently eyeing right now yourself?
Well, they're all. I have all my sets. My entire collection has already been inspected for the best quality cards, and they're just sitting in assembly line fashion, just going in order. I've had a set back and forth, which is just regular A New Hope English with BGS. The account manager had pulled it back, had been sitting with them for a couple of years, but really I'm submitting the whole set to BGS, and it's just going to go A New Hope, then Hoth. But I'm having so much fun sending a lot of my second and thirds off to PSA, and I want to get some from SGC and HG as well. So my whole hobby has changed just recently in the last year or two with the group, because there's been so much fun stuff going on that it's just not come look, inspect, and grade on your own. It's its own community now. I mean, there's competitions, there's people looking for help, there's people wanting to jump in and just want to have every service in there and just have a really cool collection on their shelves. So it's changed a little bit for me. So that's where I'm at.
Have you dug through to look for all the Grand Admiral Thrawns in your collection since the Ahsoka series came out?
Yes and no. I know kind of everything I've got and how it's organized. But
so you just have like everything is set up in an assembly line. When it's that turn, we're going to send that out.
Yeah, and I think there's a post somewhere way deep, way back when, and maybe I'll do another post because people were really interested in that looks because they're all sitting in card savers, and they're in a specific kind of box that the whole box goes off, but the box is protected, the box is wrapped and everything, so the whole set goes off, and then I sit and wait because of those, let's say there's 180 in the set. And thank goodness I'm done with Premiere. 324, that was enough to make you go insane. So
well, English Premiere, black border.
Yeah, right. That's true. And so I'll eventually get to the unlimited, and which that set looks beautiful. If that doesn't come in, I'm done with the whole entire hobby. So the other sets are smaller, and of course you send off 180, and you're not going to get back 180 that are 9 or better. You're maybe about 120, 150 of those will come back 9s, a few 10s, but now you have to deal with that 30, 40, 50 cards that were sub 9s. And so I got to go back through my collection, pull out the monster box and the ones that, back a 9 or better. So then you got to put even more effort. So here you've got sets that have already been sent off and coming back, and I'm still working on 1 or 2 cards Premiere. Now I've got to deal with like 3 cards in A New Hope and like 20 cards in Hoth. So little by little, I have to chew through those and make sure they're better before I'm sending off Jabba's Palace or getting on to Cloud City. So before you know, you've got so spread out, you don't know what you got to and what's on the checklist and
yeah,
but that's the hobby. That's what I enjoy, the chase and the fun.
That is part of the fun. Yeah, I think for me, I've kind of rethought on how I'm submitting cards because it's always been kind of like all these unique one-off send outs, and sometimes they come back great, sometimes not. But if I have, 4 or 5 of something I would only really want one graded, in my mind, I might send out 4 or 5 of them to grade, and then if I get the one I want, then I can sell the rest because I don't need them. Like I just pick the one I need. Or maybe, like I had some uncommon ones, right? If I got 2 or 3 of them and I got 2 10s and a 9, I'll happily sell, or trade the 10 or the 9. And now I don't have to worry about that card, but I can use those funds for the next thing, and just channel it into the next card. Whereas if I send 20 unique cards out, I might get what I want, I might not. Goes back to the drawing board, but I'm starting from scratch, right? I'm not necessarily getting rid of them because they're in my collection as a top pop that I want or the only example of, and I'm not going to get rid of the only example of X card, right? So
right.
I'm kind of leaning more towards, well, I have too many cards here anyways. How do I just, go through these quickly, clean out my closet a little bit, fine tune the collection a little bit. Not butcher, but surgically clean up my collection, right? So that's something I've been kind of looking at, and I don't know if anybody else kind of has that strategy or if they're just picking out things they like, but I am leaning more towards submitting more of the same if I can, especially when it comes to like the commons or uncommons. Like I don't want to keep doing the same card on separate orders and get like a year later to like get the card I want and then have all these other ones that I could have gotten rid of earlier, essentially.
It's great. And another thing I've noticed too, which is great, I've had a couple people ask about auctioning cards on our site too, where you don't even have to mess with the eBay and the fees and the headache, all the scammers. Pretty much our group is very trustworthy, and we've got an auction going this week. So hop out there and see the auction. If it goes good, the seller's going to put more out there. So, and there's no fees or anything. And it really, we've got to be 75 or 80% of the folks that are buying anyway. So we're the audience.
Yeah.
No sense in both of us, seller and buyer, having to mess with eBay and pay extra money.
That's a great point. I did see that earlier, and I was thinking about like, some of my extras or duplicates or whatever, and I was like, maybe I should try this first. It's hard to know on some cards that, we've not seen before or whatever. We don't know what the value of them, and we don't want to put out something that sounds insulting, but we don't want to like undercut the market either. So, I think we just, as long as everybody takes it a grain of salt, like, look, no one's perfect on this. No one's got like the perfect eye on the market for this right now. It's still somewhat up in the air, although it is getting a little bit better. If somebody posts something that seems too high or too low, like, let's not wreck their day about it. Like, you can just be like, hey, I think this might be at a better selling point with this if it doesn't sell or whatever.
Right.
But I think as long as, with the understanding that really nobody is the leading expert on pricing with these, then I think it could go really well. Because, I would much rather sell on the group than on eBay, because eBay really takes away so much. It kind of like, after shipping and the fees and all that other stuff, it's like out of $30, you're getting like 12. And you're like, well,
right.
That really didn't work out that well. It's like,
right.
But you also don't want to like I haven't seen bulk graded lots do that well either. I've seen like a few, but you can't list it as like a single graded card, so it doesn't show up under that category of like single card grades. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so in eBay, it's like filters it as like a different category. So I don't think they gain as much traction, which is unfortunate, because I think it would be a good way to get rid of a mix of random different grades, different cards, different graded companies, in one lot. I would love to do that, but I don't see how anybody would find it, much less know what it's worth or get what it's worth.
Right, and that's the thing, is we're going to be getting to the point where we're essentially owning that market price and that book sale for the value on it. So there's not many that are out there that have ever sold, or it's the first one. So we've got to kind of give it a close ballpark, and if it doesn't sell, then we know it was overpriced. If it sells, a lot higher, then we know that there was a market for it. There's the type.
Yeah, exactly. So, is there anything that you are looking forward to in the next month or two with grades, or is there anything you have yet to see that you want to see?
Yeah, I want to hit the PSA registry a little harder. I think, I wanted to try to go one interview without having to discuss it. They haven't been doing much with Star Wars. So I'm going to try to, start adding some more communication back to them and seeing where they're at, because for us, it's a limited amount of cards. There's only one checklist, and it's done. It's out of print. So I feel like set a project aside, put some resources on it, knock out the checklist, and you're really done until we come along and we say, I want everything Darth Vader. I'm looking for everything that's a starship, until we start coming up with the customized.
Yeah, that's fancy stuff. Like, we need to get just with the down basics. Like,
right, just the sets, all the expansions. Man, I think that would just be awesome, because everybody's got all kinds of cards ready to go to the registry. They're just not published yet.
Yeah, that is a great point. I'm always saddened every time they post a whole list of stuff that I'm like, why were all these prioritized? I don't know. At some point, didn't you say some cards have to be graded a certain amount of times before they put more priority into it? So I'm thinking, at the least, like, as I'm submitting more cards, especially with like Japanese Premier, like, maybe they'll post a Japanese Premier list, because I'll just keep sending them in. And, I see them that other people than me have submitted cards in this category. I just don't know how many have to be sent in for them to start doing that.
Right. And that's how Japanese New Hope got going. It was real low on my list, because I'm not even considering the Japanese sets part of my master collection. And so I thought, since I'm sending off my master collection to BGS, all my Japanese game to go to PSA. So I started sending in the New Hope set, only because if they come back terrible, I think they're more readily available to get your hands on and more affordable. So I did 10 or 20, and as soon as I got them back, the set was posted. It was published. And I was like, I didn't even ask for it. And so I just posted all my cards against it, and I became the number one person with the highest grades and the most graded. And I was like, well, I guess I'll keep pushing and keep doing Japanese and New Hope at PSA. But again, like my hobby changes pretty frequently. Now it's like that's my only one. I'm not going to crack it and send it over to BGS. So I think I've come to the point where I'm going to grade that whole set through PSA, and then that'll be my PSA set that never made it over to BGS.
That's crazy because there's only it's showing on the PSA website. There's 61 cards graded under A New Hope Japanese, and there's only 110 in that category. 27 nines, 25 eights, and then 10 of lower grades from there. But really, pop 1 or pop 2 on most of these cards. So either you sent them in or other people have sent them in.
I've only done about 10 or 20. And I'll tell you, I think I've done U3PO a couple of times, and it hasn't come back higher than a 6.
U3PO is a tricky one to grade. I had, let's see, the first one I sent in, I think I had it was revised. I think it was a 7. I got a foil one, I think was an 8, which I was like, that might be the best I could get. I don't know. It might be. I was like, getting a 9 would be like a grail because that card always comes back terrible.
And I can't find that card single online for like less than $80. For some reason, that card is so expensive, and I got to take a risk because this is part of why it drives me up the wall. Is that once I have it graded and it's a 9 or better, I never have to go after that card ever again. My collection is complete for that card, but that chase, and I don't have a large inventory of it like this U3PO. I mean, it's a New Hope, and I only have like 1 or 2, and they both come back like 6. I'm like, I have to go out and fork out that $80 to get it, and then hope that it's in better than 6 condition and try to get a 9. And so I may be forking out who knows how much to complete that collection. So it's fun and all, but let me tell you, if you want to shoot for insanity, I highly recommend grading everything.
Well, there are still some boxes of that sitting around. You might have to ask Sergi. Maybe I sold him a box. I think I traded one to He Who Will Not Be Spoken, but but either way, there's still more product of that available than there are of some of the other Japanese stuff. So I'm going to keep submitting stuff. I guess that's just a reassurance of the volume. I know other people are continuing to submit stuff to PSA. So hopefully we see more sets pop up because, just seeing the reflections and Tatooine out there is kind of sad. I'd love to see some of the earlier sets pop up. I think a lot of that would start filling in pretty quick. So it'd be very fun to start seeing where everybody else is at and then start competing for those key cards. What are they? U3PO is definitely going to be one of them. But what are those key cards?
Once we make mention of a couple things, because I think we talked about Jedi packs and some anthologies, and man, Jedi packs are gone. It's like, I don't know who bought them all, but there was like 30 or 40. It's like Jedi packs are like $15 to get a Jedi pack now. And I'm like,
oh my God. Well, I do have a bunch that are out for grading at the moment. So hopefully some of them come back decently. But man, they grade terrible. I mean, you're going to see a lot of low balls of those because they don't look good in the packs.
No, they don't. They don't, but it's funny.
I don't know. Maybe I should have shut my mouth, but part of me wants it to be a little competitive, make it fun.
Yeah. And we're here. I mean, we're experts in the group and administrators. So I wanted to continuously have this organic growth. And if people are struggling and looking for an angle, I want them to have all the available information and fingertips to have fun and enjoy the hobby. Because, I mean, I don't see many people leaving. And still, even some of the earliest of the members are reaching out with all kinds of engagement. So I love to see that. Keep your eye on Brian Christopherson. He's going to be having some incredible returns. He's buying up boxes like crazy. And so he's somebody to watch and reach out to him if you guys have it about what he's doing.
I saw he recently ripped A New Hope box. I was like, dang, I was thinking of doing the same thing, but I guess he beat me to the punch. Because A New Hope is a smaller set, right? So feels much
Yep.
more attainable, minus U3PO, of course. But the weird thing is things like R2D2 and Chewbacca are not the key rares in that. Those are rare
No.
too. You see those much more
Right.
often.
But that's what everybody wants. Everybody's always talking about the mains. They want to get the mains and then the foil of the mains. And yeah, 90% of the people are flipping and buying and just trying to get what they enjoy. But I'm telling you, there's so much more out there than all the foils and all the mains. And I'm telling you, you saw I submitted seekers and timer mines, and I've got it all, and it's fun. I had some guy, I said, look at how wonderful this artwork is. And he's like, what are you talking about? Magic has artwork. And I'm like, listen, photography and cinematography that's artwork too. And the way Decipher did all these Star Wars cards, greater than Magic, greater than Pokemon, greater than all the other gamings. So I love it.
I appreciate that the shots are not like a lot of the top stuff is literally just straight from a movie shot. This is like those shots that are like in the movie, but like to the side or a different angle or like somehow behind the scenes as it's going on. So it feels like it's part of the movie, but like you're clearly somewhere else. And like that is amazing. That was genius. Whoever thought of that.
Yep.
But anyways, we covered what we wanted to for this month. JP, this is awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to more registry sets opening up and seeing what other curious sales pop up. And if anybody has a good U3PO, let us know.
Yeah.
We might be interested in that. Otherwise, thanks for coming on, JP.
All right. Thanks, Kyle. Take care.